Alright there guys, welcome to another Fishing Adventures. Today you find me at the Railway Pond in York, and it's one of those little secluded natural venues, okay, and it's got some good sized carp, plenty of bream, few tench, good head of roach and rudd, and a little bit of everything else as well. There's some massive perch in here apparently, and today I'm fishing really simply. All I'm doing is using a feeder, a cage feeder, and on the hook I'm just using sweet corn. I've got some bread to try a little bit later on, and I've also got some wafters, okay. The reason being I'm just keeping it really simple is the fact that I want to target ideally some of the bream and hopefully some of the big roach. Now this pond is just a superb natural little venue. I've fished it on and off, but not on a regular basis. It used to be a club water, and then it got taken over, and then I lost touch with everything that happened down here, and there's a nice group of guys that look after it now, and it's in absolutely immaculate condition. And as I say, there's some nice big chunky carp down here as well. Apparently the biggest got put in at 22 pound and it's never been caught. So yeah, the approach today is going to be mega simple. I'm just using a cage feeder with a nice lovely dark Silvers ground bait, okay. Corn on the hook. I've got some bread to try a little bit later on as well, and I've also got some wafters because it is fish for carp quite a lot, and the fish do get used to seeing that sort of bait, like the boilies and the corn. And I know that the bream in here have been caught on corn. There's a guy fishing a couple of pegs away, he's after carp, and apparently he's had some big bream out with the boilies and the carp approach. So that's I've gone like a singular route today just to see what happens. Hopefully we'll get amongst a few fish. Just got a nice simple helicopter setup as well. Okay, and by that the feeder is attached to the bottom of the rig, and the hook length is attached via a snap swivel with some float stops on the line, so I can actually move the hook length up and down depending on what happens throughout the session, because it is really deep in here. It's like 13-14 feet in places. Where I'm fishing at the moment is about 10 foot deep. Okay, it is quite weedy, which is why I've chosen the helicopter rig, because it'll just get that hook bait laying on top of the weed or slightly above it. And again, as we've seen, when you're fishing bread, it is buoyant, okay. So if I put 2 discs of bread on, it's going to pop up, okay. And we know that because we've done the underwater filming, haven't we? We've seen how the bread responds. If you haven't seen that already, there's a link just up there. Go and have a look at that after this video, and it might just change how you fish the bread. I'm just going to keep casting in on a regular basis. Going to give it, what are we on now? 12 o'clock. It's been in 4 minutes already, okay, and this is the first chuck, so I'm not really expecting much until we get a few regular casts going in. But I'm going to give it about 6 or 7 minutes each chuck, and we'll just see. Get a bit of better bait down. Fishing about 30 yards out initially just to see. It's got a nice little tap then. And that's sometimes the case with the little bream bites. You'll get a couple of little taps, and then they'll come back a little bit more confident and whiz off with it. Again, as we've seen on the other underwater footage with the method feeder underwater, with the ground bait and the different hook baits on and stuff like that, they're not necessarily shy when it comes to rigs and feeders. So big rat has just got out down there. So if I run off screaming, you know it's come towards me. Always worrying that. I don't like rats. The water is quite clear as well, so the ground bait I'm using is dark, which is good. I feel they will feed more confidently over a dark ground bait if the water's clear. And this one's got plenty of particles in it as well, so it will keep them grubbing around. The only other feed that I've got on there is the hook bait, so hopefully when they do switch on and come in, we should get a few bites. And I've just got a really slight curve on the tip, not too tight, because we're not fishing a bolt effect like you would on a commercial where you've got that tip wrapped around, and as soon as they pick it up it springs back and hooks them basically. We're just fishing a bit of a more delicate method. Yes, I've just changed. I had 2 big chunks of corn on. I was getting the taps and the knocks, so what I've done is I've taken them off and I've just put like half a grain of corn on, just to see if that makes any difference with the bites, because if they are slightly smaller fish initially, then they're going to need a slightly smaller hook bait, but we'll see how that goes. So what we've been on there, 24. Okay, so this is the rig that I've got today. Okay, feeder attached to a snap link swivel at the bottom, so I can change sizes if I need to quite quickly. And again, the hook length is fastened on between 2 float stops onto a snap link swivel. Okay, and that hook length is 15 inches onto a size 16 with a bait band on there. Okay, and the reason for the bait band is that I can change between corn, bread, wafter, whatever instantly without having to worry about anything. Okay. So yeah, let's see what happens. Yeah, just had another indication then, so they're obviously wanting a bigger hook bait. I've gone back up to the 2 grains of corn. So we'll see, there's definitely fish around there.
So here we are. We're sat in the car and you're probably wondering why. Okay, now initially I was having trouble with the memory card in the camera. It was it weren't recording basically, so I managed to get it working, and then so far into the session I'm not entirely sure when it actually stopped recording, because I'm obviously still at the pond. It just shut down, the camera shut down completely. I always carry a spare battery pack that is normally good for about 5 hours. So I popped that on and that was completely dead as well. So yeah, to cut a long story short, the session as it went, it didn't improve, to be honest with you. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not here to string you along and say, yeah, it was another brilliant session, but it wasn't on film. It wasn't. I had, depending on when this actually cut, I think in total I had about 6 bites, but they weren't proper bites, they were just little dinks on the tip. So to me, knowing what happens in the underwater footage, that was the fish coming in, they were grazing on the ground bait but not interested in the hook bait. Okay, and I came with a single-minded attitude that I was going to fish corn with maybe a bread as a backup, and a wafter if they really got into it, kind of thing. But it just weren't meant to be. It was just depressing. To be honest with you, I'm not gonna lie, it were a bad session today. But what can you do? It's fishing. You can't always come out and bag up and do exactly what you think you're gonna do or what you think is gonna happen on the day. You've just got to gauge your session as you see fit, really. And this is a prime example. Do you know what I mean? I could have gone to a commercial venue and done some other stuff. I could have gone to a pond and done maybe something slightly different, but to be honest, I really fancied this pond. But after talking to a couple of the bailiffs and a lad that was also fishing down here today, they have said that there's been very little been caught for the past 4 weeks, which doesn't bode well for anyone really coming down here at the moment. No one seems to know why. The fish have all spawned, but they've all stopped now. Whether it's the changes in the weather, anything like that, we just don't know, because the Railway Pond itself is a lovely little venue and it's packed full of fish, but it's massively deep as well. It's up to 17 foot, I found out, in certain places. So the fish could be anywhere. Do you know what I mean? It's not a massive surface area, but it's really, really deep. So those fish could be lurking anywhere. And if they're not switched on, they're just not going to feed. And that was the case today, really. They were more interested in grubbing around, having a bit of a play, but not really seriously eating. Whether they've switched on to maybe bloodworm or something, I don't know. But I could sit here all day and come up with a ton of excuses, but at the end of the day, we didn't catch out. Not much I can do, really. So I'm going to go home and have a coffee or a bottle of rum, whichever I get to first. Yeah, stick around. There will be some more fish to come. Catch you all later.